In Boston's torrid housing market, we sometimes hear about the difficult choice between displacement and disrepair. One response from the city is a new program that aims to prevent displacement while helping investor owners meet the cost of renovations. Funded by inclusionary development money, the effort's known as the Acquisition Opportunity Program. To tell us about the program is our guest, the Director of Operations with the Department of Neighborhood Development, Devin Quirk. Thank you very much.
Glad to be here, Chris. Thank you for having me back.
First of all, I remember there was once upon a time in Boston, it was almost unthinkable that the city would be helping investor owners, but I guess things have changed.
Yeah, things have changed in Boston. I mean, Boston has a really hot housing market, as anyone who lives in the city knows. And that's one of the reasons why, since taking office, Mayor Walsh has really made housing a cornerstone of his work. You might remember one of the first things that Mayor Walsh did when taking office was convene a group of community leaders to create a housing plan for the city. And the vision of that housing plan was pretty simple. We want Boston to be a city where people from all backgrounds and all incomes can afford to call it home. But to actually achieve that in Boston's housing market is a lot of hard work, and takes the work of many people who are community advocates, many people, my colleagues at the Department of Neighborhood Development, working hard every day to get there. And we need new strategies. So we've changed the inclusionary development program. We've launched a new Office of Housing Stability. The mayor last year created a housing line item for senior housing, which is our fastest growing demographic in Boston. And so this new acquisition affordability program is just another piece of that puzzle. We need every tool in the toolbox to try and create more affordable housing.
Chris, another way to explain the importance of this, a lot of what you're dealing with here is older housing stock. It does need to be periodically updated and fixed.
Yep.
And you've got a lot of families living in these units. They started living there maybe a while ago. The rents didn't go up that much, and all of a sudden.
Yeah, in the past 4 or 5 years, rents have been escalating quite rapidly, and we have people who've lived in Boston, they've made their homes in Boston for generations, and they're suddenly facing this pressure that rents in Boston aren't something that they can afford. So what the idea behind this program is to create a pool of money that CDCs and other developers can access to acquire property and convert it into affordable housing. So thereby taking it out of the private market, which is facing such rent pressure, and convert it into something that people at a lower or moderate income can afford.
Talk about the importance of these nonprofit developers being part of the equation here too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the program really is targeted at experienced nonprofits, folks who are really motivated to see property in the city of Boston remain affordable. So part of the deal here by the city offering this funding to help a nonprofit acquire a property is that property must be income restricted and rent restricted. So for example, a 2-bedroom can't rent out at more than $1,200 a month and needs to be occupied by a family not making more than a certain income threshold. And we need to maintain that for 50 years. So this takes that property out of that speculative market for at least 50 years, if not longer, thereby preserving affordability in our neighborhood.
So 50 years, meaning even if that family decides to move out, you're still keeping it at the same
Yeah, we're
level.
targeting this for rentals. So this is a housing developer, an investor, most likely a CDC or a nonprofit, purchases the property, and they'll hold the property for at least 50 years and ensure that it rents out to an affordable family that meets an affordable income.
This is BNN News. We're talking with Devin Quirk from Boston's Department of Neighborhood Development. I know when the city put out the release about this, they said this was for responsible investor owners. So except for the case of nonprofits, where you've got the track record, how do you know when someone's responsible?
So it's a competitive funding round. So we put out $7.5 million, and we're asking developers to come submit their experience, so tell us what kind of property they're looking to acquire, what kind of financing they need, but what is their track record, right? And so we're definitely looking for developers that have some experience providing affordable housing and have shared goals with us. We've already had some responses, so we're working with Southwest Boston CDC on a property on American Legion Highway. We also have a property in East Boston with the East Boston CDC that's interested. So we're already seeing a response from some very responsible community partners that we've done work with in the past.
Well, I know when you create a program like this, you don't want to give away too much, but on the other hand, you want to give away enough so that you give the incentive for somebody to keep the unit affordable.
Exactly.
So how much of an incentive is this?
So the city won't offer more than $75,000 per affordable unit, so that an investor needs to come up with a lot of their own capital and equity to purchase a property. But But again, I'd take it back to the goal here, which is to really take property out of the speculative market. We're not looking for developers who are motivated for the highest value. We're looking for developers who are really motivated for community value, and part of community value is maintaining a diversity of incomes, a diversity of backgrounds in our neighborhoods, and to do that, we need more affordable housing, and this is one way to get there.
I guess the other thing that matters here too is that by giving more tools to the nonprofits, you're going to give them more of a fighting chance because they're competing for these properties.
Absolutely. There's like I said, Boston's a really attractive place to live, and in some hands that's great. We're a thriving economy, but the growth of Boston can't come at the expense of the people who've lived in Boston for generations. So we need to create affordable housing opportunities. We need to provide our local partners, our community development agencies, the tools they need to compete in this really hot market, and that means they need capital at their fingertips so they can access and go out and outbid or at least bid alongside a private developer.
So if there is an owner looking into this, what kind of steps do they have to go through?
So I'd say the first thing to do is contact the Department of Neighborhood Development, learn more about the program. We've issued an RFP, or request for proposals, for developers to come to us and say, hey, I've got a property, or I've got I'm looking at a certain type of property, and we can walk you through exactly how to apply for the program and how to get financing.
And one thing, by way of context, anything that you'd like to say so far about how we're doing with meeting the mayor's goals on production, affordability?
I think we're heading in the right direction. I think we're monitoring those numbers closely. One of the goals that the mayor has is for us to double our pace of affordable housing creation to 6,500 units over the course of the next 15 years. Last year, we did an amazing job. We created over 1,000 units of affordable housing, and that has a lot to do with our community partners, our community advocates, and set-asides from private development. So far, things we're meeting the mayor's goals. But rents continue to increase. We're seeing a little bit of moderation in the rental market. But we need to keep working hard because we need more solutions, and there's more need out there in the city in terms of the need for more affordable housing than we're currently providing. So we can't rest on our laurels. We have to keep working hard, and the mayor keeps pushing us to work hard every day.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Glad to be here.
Devin Quirk from Boston's Department of Neighborhood Development. Up ahead, we'll talk about a milestone for a family-owned business in Mattapan.